Okay, well, I'm going to just give a very brief introduction because I know Ilga is going to introduce her colleagues. But as most of you know, Ilga is our Vice President for Communications for Oregon AAUW Oregon. And she's been doing a great job. I think you've all seen many of her wonderful communications, but she has also been taking care of our website for, I think, about the last 6 months. And I believe, Ilga, we are looking for a website person. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. So I hope we find somebody.
After tonight, maybe somebody will volunteer when they see how easy it is to do. So that's Ilga right. Has with her Kelli Matthews and Suzanne Wicklin, and they're going to help her talk about websites. So take it away, ladies.
Okay, thank you, Pat. What I would like to say, we're going to do this kind of in 3 parts, not fully 3 parts, but we will do it in a way where Kelli will start. And Kelli, as you know, is in marketing at the University of Oregon. And so Kelli will give us the marketing point of view of why and what a website should be all about. So we'll start with that. And then I am now self-taught on WordPress on this particular theme. And I will give you a few basics on, and I'm talking about the basics because I feel that that's what most of you are most interested in on that. And Suzanne will be helping me and assisting and popping in now and then because Suzanne's been doing this a long time for Grants Pass branch. And she has written up a list of things to do periodically. And we'll be sharing that. So we will start with Kelli, who will tell us about websites.
All right, thank you. I just have a couple of slides because it's helpful, I think, in slides. So it's helpful for me to make sure that I, stay on track and give you the information that I think will be useful. Although the most useful information is that I'm a Gemini. So to follow that little train of thought from earlier. So you just never know who's going to show up when I come in the room because I'm a Gemini. So let's see. I want to talk about kind of strategy basics and what a website, kind of the purpose that a website should serve and overall communications. So I just have a couple things here that I want to go through. So the first is that I would encourage you with all of your communication efforts in your branches, and this is certainly true for your website, to start with what is your why. So to start by really having a sense of what your goal is for communication. So, and what is your goal for your website specifically? So these are some things that might be your goal. They may not, they may fit, you're welcome to steal them, you're welcome to tweak them, but it might be because you want to keep your members informed and connected. So that's a perfectly appropriate goal for a website. It might be that you want to reinforce your branch values and priorities. So you want to use it as a message to be able to share your core messages as a branch, to share your projects, your policy priorities, your branch priorities. It could be more of an external tool where you want to share information about your branch with your broader community. So you may want to, you may want to focus to some degree on your website being more findable. So Google being your friend in terms of your website and making your content more findable. You may want to be a one-stop shop for basic info, kind of a destination, and that's good. Like that's all we want is for it to be accurate and complete and for people to be able to come and know who to contact and when the meetings are and, kind of basic stuff. So those are not necessarily mutually exclusive. They can collapse, they can combine, be a Venn diagram of things, but I would really encourage you to think first about what purpose your website serves in your branch communication. Without that purpose, it is not to say that it can't still be a powerful tool. It absolutely can be, but it can it can be difficult to make decisions about what goes and what stays and how much time we spend on it, and what kind of information we want to share, and what kind of resources we want to put into it. So so setting that goal and really having a good sense of your why should be your first step. Your second question that you should ask is, who's your who? So what's your why and who's your who? Which sort of goes with a baseball theme. What's that baseball, that Laurel and Hardy thing? Who's on first? What's on second? Yeah, so it's sort of goes with your theme, Nancy. So there's so who's your who? And I would encourage you to not make assumptions. So if you're not sure about how your members are using websites or any kind of digital tools, or what they want to get from those tools, or what barriers are in their way, and how you can help remove barriers to participating in website or any digital tool, don't make assumptions. So ask questions, ask people what kind of information they want or how they want to access information. If they're getting stuck because your website maybe isn't very device friendly, and so they're having a hard time finding information because the menu moves around, or any number of things. So I would encourage you to not make assumptions, and to ask regularly about how and whether people are using the website, and if they're not, why. In most cases, and this is true for lots of different organizations, and I think I'm actually thinking of my kids' schools off the top of my head, the websites are static. They don't change very often. I can't usually find what I'm looking for very easily. And so those keep me from using those websites in particular more effectively. So it may be that that's not important. I mean, from my kids' school's perspective, it may not be important. They may be talking to prospective families, and that's most important. And that could be the same for your branch, right? So if your branch is really focused on potential members or that external community piece of it, the information that you provide to your members may come through different channels. Your website might not be your most important platform. So if you're asking what's your why and who's your who, then you can decide then how can your website serve most effectively as the hub for your communication. So that's our next piece here. So think about your website as the center hub among a bunch of spokes. One spoke might be if you send emails on a regular basis. That could be another spoke. Another spoke could be if you use social media. If you have a Facebook page. Another spoke might be your meetings, whether they're in person or virtual. Another spoke might be just word of mouth, people talking to their friends about their experience with AAUW. In all of those cases, if you're pointing people back to your website and you've decided that people should come back to your website and get more information, then you can provide the right content for those spokes coming back to your hub. Let's take social media as a quick example. Social media is rented land. You don't own social media. You don't own your Facebook profiles. You don't own the groups. It's rented land. Your website is owned land, if you want to kind of think of that analogy. So bringing people back to your website allows you to control the information, control how they get it, the format that it gets to them in a way that you can't on social media. You just can't. We don't get to control a lot of what happens on social media. So social media is a shared platform, and website is an owned platform. And the more you can rely on your owned platforms to share information, the more likely you're more likely to be able to control that information. That's not to say that social media is not a great platform. It is, but you want to be able to pull people back to your hub, right? You want email to pull people back to your hub so that they can get the information in the way that you need them to get it, and that they want to get it, right? It's a kind of a two-way street. So emails can also, email newsletters, kind of monthly bulletins or whatever, can be another great spoke, but are often and should be, email strategy is probably a different topic, but should be limited in length, and also point people back to websites. So if you have more than we'll say 2 paragraphs, that's about all you should put in an email, in any kind of email topic bucket. And then you can pull people back to your website to register, to get more info, to read bio of your speakers, those kinds of things. So again, think of it as that kind of that hub and spoke, with your website being the hub for your communications. And when you've answered the what's your why and who's your who, then you can decide, what does that structure need to look like? What needs to be on the homepage? What kind of menus do you need on your website? I often see, and you guys have probably seen this too, and maybe have experienced it, websites without that plan, both the what's the what and who's the who plan, and this kind of hub and spoke idea, end up looking a little bit like a house that didn't get the right permits when it added on, and like the staircases go in a weird way, and there's a door that opens into a cinder block wall. And so if you take the time to plan it and have a strategy on the front end, then you can build that beautiful addition, and it looks like it fits with the character of your home, your branch, your people. It all fits together. So I, as a prospective member, come to the front door of your website and say, wow, this really aligns with who I am, really aligns with my values, really aligns with my personal priorities. This looks like a group I really want to be involved with. I see an email and it matches. I see social and it matches. I show up at a meeting and it matches. It's all part of your personality as a branch, and of course then feed into the broader organization. Okay, that's my 10 to 12 minutes. So I'm gonna break and hand it back off to Ilga, but hanging out to answer questions and to support as needed. And I don't know if we want to do questions as we go. Happy to do that right away, or we can just save it. I'll let Ilga, you can make that call.
Well, I think we would take the questions now. I do want to make one comment. 2 days ago, when we're in our communication group, and this is what I want to stress to many of you, is like Kelli said, we need input as to what needs to be on there. If you are the website manager, it's not up to you to make up everything you put on the website. So, and I think Kelli amplified on that. So we will take your questions. Just unmute yourself and let's try a free for all. And if that doesn't work, then we'll organize it a little bit more. All right, questions?
Pat Lehman. I don't have a question. I have a comment. I have looked at all of the Oregon websites, branch websites, and websites from other states and branches within other states. And what really has struck me is that the states and branches that are current, attractive, up to date, and relevant with information that's useful are very, very appealing. But there are so many branches and states that have languished and let their websites get old and decrepit and useless. And I think that sends a message about who AAUW is. And so the fact that, Ilga, you have stepped up to fill in the gap that when we don't have a web manager is absolutely critical, and you've done a wonderful job, and I'm very proud of the website as we see it now. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? I will comment on one thing. The role of the state website is different from what your branch website will be, because the role of the state is to connect the branches with national. So we have our own programs, but we also try to feature some things from the branches, as well as let you know and make connections with national. So I do think that the purpose of the state website is different. So you need to look at the purpose of your own website. Are there other questions, comments? Sue?
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody, Ilga has a link on there now so the branches can post if you have an event coming up, or since we're still in Zoom world, Zoom meetings that are coming up that you want to share with other branches. Ilga has an area for the branches to post that. So take advantage of it and put your information out there that you want to share with the other branches. And I think that's a really great asset for us.
They need to contact me because you have to have access to the website. It's not possible for someone from outside to post on the state website, but send it all to me on an ordinary email and let me know, and I will be very happy to put it in that area. I don't hear any more, so I guess I'm going to try and screen share, and I'm going to, oh, there is a question, Jane.
I was wondering if you could send us the references to some of those attractive, vibrant websites so we can see them as good examples, please.
Pat, did you keep track?
I haven't specifically kept track, but I could, in my copious spare time, I could go back and take a look. There are some that kind of stuck with me in my mind after seeing them, mostly the horrible examples. So yeah, I'll go back and do a little survey of what I looked at before. Thank you,
No
Jane.
rush, no rush, but it would be
No,
good.
I
That's
can
great.
tell you, Grants Pass is great. Wicklin, Eugene-Lane is very nice. And to the ones that just come to the top of my head. You should also take a look at Portland website, and because it's different from that standard website.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else? Deb?
Yeah, sorry. Kelly, you may have mentioned this before. I'm unsure and I apologize for being late. But any kind of tricks you can give us, tricks and tips about being ADA compliant on the website?
Oh, I did not talk about that. Let's see. So I don't have much at the top of my head. Because I was not prepared to answer that question, but I definitely have some. That's okay. No, it's fair. It's a good question. I can definitely find some resources to share. There's some very specific things in terms of website readability and screen readers and things like that that are good best practices and resources. And so I'll make a note to gather some good ones and send them your way.
I know the biggest problem we had on our website is I would get information from members and things would be underlined. And I would have to say, no, unless it's a link, we can't do that, in a website, because if somebody's looking at the screen reader, it's going to immediately read it differently. So that's the only thing that I knew. Of doing, or maybe like, an alt tag on a picture or something.
Yeah, things like alt text on pictures, and there's some contrast guidelines about contrasting colors that are good. Make it easier for screen readers or just people with low vision to be able to see better. So I know there are some good resources out there that give some of those best practices. I will see what I can find and send your way.
Thank you.
Or probably send through Nancy, and then you can disperse to everyone who's here.
And also, the Genie Google is a good resource as well. How people send me questions and I Google it and then I reply back and they think I'm really smart.
That's our secret in academia too.
I know, right? Ellen Fowler has asked a question. Do you know when National will make the website upgrade available?
We still don't know, Ellen. No, Tuesday, we still don't know. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. But yeah, that's
yeah, they keep saying next fall, next spring, but I'm not sure I care because I don't like the national website, but I don't know how devoted I want to become to this particular version of WordPress.
Well, let me go on then and explain to you what I was going to talk to you about. first of all, of our 23 branches, we have 21 use the AAUW's WordPress design. And that is called the Site Resources theme. So that theme was selected by National in 12. Change that theme. And that's really what we're talking about, Ellen, when we, you know, when they come out with a pattern for us. So they are doing theme, and we just can't do anything about that. Now, 21 of our branches in the state use that theme, that WordPress theme. 2 is Weebly, Gresham and Point. If you were to go into Weebly, or I'm sorry, into Now, and just sign up for a free WordPress on your own, you would have a choice of different formats, and you could probably adopt one of those too. Now, in those 21 that use this theme, 5 of them are connected to the state website. It's our Albany, Hillsborough, Forest Grove, Lakeview, Lincoln City, Roseburg. Those 5 branches, if you want to make, you have to talk to me. You have to send me the information, and I have to make those changes, or whoever then becomes the webmaster for the state will be making those changes for you. I'm sure that you can ask to be separated out. Let's say you have a new or a member in your branch who really would like to do this, then we would just talk to National and get you your own website that you would have your own editor for. The other 16 then have their own webmasters. And for those of you, your own webmaster, if you have a question regarding your site, you would send an email to site resources at AAUW, or site with a dash, site, SITE dash resources at AAUW.org. And they have been very responsive to me because I did have a lot of questions. So let's say that you're starting out and you are going to do your own website. Well, this is the AAUW of Oregon website. And these green bands are permanent. These are part of the theme, as is this green and blue logo. That is also part of the theme. This up here, can you all see what I'm doing? Can you see my mouse and all that moving around?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good. This up here is called the header. This in here is called the menu. And this column on the right-hand side named a widget. This is a widget. And notice that if you have a widget, and I think maybe all but one of our websites do, when you have a widget, that takes some of the space away from over here, doesn't it? And even as you go down the page, it continues to take that column away. So this is the home page, and I'm not going to talk about why it chose what to put on there. But I think the one thing that I wanted to point out, so as an editor, when you contact Site Resources at AAUW.org and say, I'm so-and-so, and I want to be an editor for my branch website, and you get the authorization. So the first thing, let me actually go down here. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to have to log in, right? So you're going to have a username and a password, and you're doing a login. Now your login takes you to something called the dashboard. Now on the dashboard, you can see right here, it says there's a lot of stuff on here. This is WordPress 5.8 is running Site Resources theme. And that is the theme, and that's something that we can't change. The two things down the side that you will be most interested in will be pages and media. Now up here at the top, the thing you're most interested in is that you're going to visit the site. And when you click on visit the site, you get to your home page. So we're at visit the site. Now, like I said, you can't change the green bars, you can't change that. In order to change anything in the header, like these photos, or anything in the menu, or anything in this widget down the side, you have to become a super editor. And I had the toughest time when I was just an editor because I was working in this area here. I was working just in that area and I wanted to make changes to the rest of it and I couldn't do it and I was getting so frustrated and I had to ask for help and they said, oh, you have to be super editor. So now I am, which means I can make some changes to those things. But my advice is that you want to start out just being an editor because what you want to do is to do some changes in the middle here, right? So we'll move into that part. And what I did, I set up a special page here called Summer Skills Camp 2.1 Demonstration. And so this outlines the things that I want to go through and how to do these things. So this is a demonstration page. Now at the top, the first thing in order to do anything, you notice we still have some choices up here. We can go back to the dashboard and the widgets and the menus that I talked about, or we can actually edit the page. That's the one that you're most interested in, edit the page. You have to click on that to make any changes. All right, so here you are now. So this was the name of the page that we're going to play with. We have, if we wanted to go back to the website, you see it says visit site, you go back there. Over here, we have the media that I mentioned. We have our other pages. So let's work on this demonstration page. You know, let's first talk about this toolbar though. When I first started working on it, I think Brenda didn't know what in the world I was talking about. I said, how do you change the color of this? And she says, well, it's right there, you know, just change the color. And of course, we could change it to purple. But what happened to me was I had this toolbar toggled and I only had one row of the toolbar. Now, I don't know if this has happened to you in some of your other documents, but I only had half of it and I couldn't tell that there was a way to change the color. So if that happens to you, make sure you get your whole toolbar up in order to change. Well, let's edit this text. And I mentioned this is like word processing. Okay, so let's change this. What do we want to say? Should we type something in here? Let's say diversity. I'm just typing this. We are looking, oops, that's what happens. We are looking at race relations. Good day, I'm not typing a lot. Right click that baby. So you see how that is just like word processing, right? And you can do the same kind of cut and paste kind of thing. You can copy that, paste it down here. I usually use paste as plain text, especially when I'm going from somewhere else. Because if sometimes you will introduce some weird things from other places if you use just paste. The other thing on this, I want to show you the sizes that you have as an option. You have the paragraph, which we see down here, and we have all these heading sizes. Let's see what size we have here. This, I just clicked on this top one. This is the size of heading 3. This down here is heading 2. So that's how we would change size. If this is heading 2, well, let's turn this into heading 1. Makes it bigger. Oh, how about if we want to make it in italics? We can do that too. So is this like word processing? Yeah, I think so, with a few limitations. Okay, so I've told you about editing text. I told you about copy and paste. I told you about size and colors. Oh, lists and bullets. Well, let's say that we're doing a list. All right, so we have a list here. And notice it's just paragraph size right now. January. Now, when I do return, I get a double space, don't I? February. Do a return. March. So when you do a simple return, you get a double space. But let's say you don't want a double space. Well, one thing, if you take those, I just highlighted, and you bullet them, well, that brings them back together. Or if you were to number them, that will bring them back together. There is one other way too. Before you do the enter, if you hold the shift key down, so it's shift enter, you get a single space. Okay. Do we have any questions at this point? You might want to put them in chat, or you want to speak up. Well, let's go on then to media.
I just had one question.
Yes.
And you said because to avoid formatting problems, you just cut and paste as a simple text. Can you show me what icon that is? Because I usually just.
Oh, when you do that, yeah. Let's just cut this. Okay, so I have. Let's say we're copying this, and when I do my cut and paste with a right click. I don't know what you use, but I do a right click. Notice you have a choice there of paste or paste as plain text. Unless I specifically want to paste something that's already formatted in color or shape or something like, like if I would like a green headline that I want to repeat someplace, then I would use the paste. But otherwise, I would use it as plain text. If I were to,
I've got it. I don't have that choice when I right click, but I've got it now. I just have little icons. Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, Ilga, how did you do the spell check?
Oh, same way that I did spell check. Let's do. Let's make a mistake here somewhere. All right. So there you go. Just like in word processing, I did a right click. And there it is at the top. It's just.
Okay. This is okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Exactly the same.
Ilga, I sent you 2 questions in the chat.
Okay, I can't see them. Not
Okay.
Not
Sorry.
with the format I'm in right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Pat,
Okay.
Pat, if you send them again to everyone,
Okay.
I can read them to her.
Yeah.
Or
Or you can just ask. Go ahead and
I
ask.
could- yeah. Okay. Why isn't the new logo on the header?
Because they did not put it on the header, and we cannot
Okay.
change it.
So we have to wait for National to change it.
Exactly.
Okay. My other question was, the link icon, does that refer to something you want to send out or something to
No.
import?
You will want to import that. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, thank you.
Ilga, Ellen asked a question about using different fonts.
The fonts are built into the theme. As far as I know, you cannot use different fonts unless, you know, something I haven't tried, Ellen, that you might create a document in some other font and then take it and copy it and paste it as is. And perhaps it'll come out the way you want it, but I don't know. Most of the time, the font is included with the theme that I know of in most platforms. Weebly does the same thing. In order to change the font, you either have to paste it in or you have to use a theme where, say, sans serif or a serif type font is part of it.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, media, replacing photos. So here we are. We can make the photo here. I just clicked on the photo. Notice how it's highlighted and the little corners come up. So you can make it smaller, make it bigger, just by dragging on the corners, right? But let's say we don't want this photo. So let's remove the photo. Okay, now it's gone. Now we want to put in a new photo. And I want to add media. And I want to add this picture. And down here in the right-hand corner, insert into page. And there she is. Okay, so we got her in there. One other thing I wanted to say about these pictures. Notice up here, just like in word processing, you can get this picture aligned to the left. You can get it aligned to the middle. You can get it aligned to the right. No alignment. So you have some choices just like that. You can edit these pictures. You can edit these pictures once they've been uploaded, but I wouldn't advise it. I would crop them. I would crop them before.
Ilga, can I make a comment when you're in the edit of the picture?
Oh, okay. Let me edit.
I don't remember who it was, but wanted to talk. Oh, Bev wanted to talk about whatever. But the alternative text is on this page. If you want to give the alternative, if people can't see the image, they'll see if you put an alternate text in here, it will talk about the image and what people might be missing if they can't see the image. So this is a picture of our gorgeous Suzanne Wicklin, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes. And then you can also put a caption on the picture here in the edit.
Yes, you can. You can move this up like I just did if you want to space it that way. Let's see, captions. Oh, all right. If you want to have a caption on it, I don't know. If you want to have a caption on it, when you upload it, did I put one on? You put it on. Oh, the next thing I wanted to show you. Let's go back. Put it on before you put the picture in. Okay, I think I'm going to have to hurry a little bit. You can do multiple photos. Notice nothing has changed, and nothing will change until you update or publish. And I need to be on the edit page to show you this. Come on, okay. Down here, nothing's going to change until you do update. All right. So we had Suzanne in here. Let's see if we can get her in here again. So when I update it, then view the page, there she is. But I hadn't updated the page, and so it went back to that same old picture. Okay. At that same place, in edit the page is where you do your password protecting. Right here is visibility. Public is what this is, but if you want to password protect it, then it's going to come up with a blank where you will place, oh, helpful, where you will place the password you want to use. And then you list it as okay. And then you do the update.
Ilga,
Yes.
question. This is Mary Pat.
Yes.
So I've been doing like Oswego's website for the last couple of years by the seat of my pants, because I really am just a figure as I figure it out as I go. But one thing, we upload our newsletters, and I always have to have them compressed. We have so many graphics. But at one point, about 3 or 4 months ago,
She knows that.
it would not allow me anymore to upload. And so I don't know. I just thought, well, I don't know what the problem is. Maybe if I just delete some other things in my media, it'll work. And I did that, and it did work. But so the question is there a finite amount of space allowed us in the media?
Board right there. So yes, there is. And unless you compress your newsletters, it can only go up to 3 millibytes, I think.
Yeah, no, we compress. We have to compress, but let's see. So from time to time, you really need to clean out your media, maybe.
Absolutely, and I've been doing that for quite a while, since everything that's been, this website has had stuff since 2012. So there was a lot of stuff. Let's see if there's anything else I need to pick up. Obviously, oh, now I've password protected it, haven't I?
Ilga, show the preview button so that you can see what you've done, but not publish it, to make sure it looks right before you send it out there.
Okay, let's see. Am I logged out or some silly thing? I have to lock myself out of it. All right. I don't use the preview button very much. I tend not to use that. I intend to look, and if I don't like it, then I go back in. But there is a preview button. And so I'm in edit now. And then if we, let's password protect it and do something different here. And let's get that back out of there. Okay. This is view page. It doesn't all, oh, wait a minute.
Scroll back down, and right above update is preview
Right there.
changes.
There's your preview changes. So I guess all I did was do something there.
I use that frequently because it seems like sometimes the spacing is off, or I want to proofread it in the bigger picture mode or whatever. So I've found that pretty handy to use before I update.
Yeah, I generally, I have used it, but I actually prefer simply to look at the page and just go to view page and then go back in if necessary. Where are we here? Going on to links to documents. All right. Let's go to I'm running out of time because I need to give Suzanne some time. So here's Suzanne's maintenance sheet, and you asked about link. Now this is already in the media file. So I highlighted it, and I'm going to link it. So now I need to find the document, and it's already uploaded. So where is it? The way maintenance right there. Insert into page right there. Okay, well, here's what happens to me all the time. I don't want to name it one thing here, but it's been named something else. So you can keep it with that. You can see that the blue part is what is actually linked. So you can keep it that way and erase this stuff over here, or you can rename it AAUW website maintenance by Suzanne. Okay, and just get rid of that part. All right, AAUW maintenance by Suzanne. And then one of the things that absolutely drives me nuts, this is a PDF file, and you'd have to use the back arrow right now. If you clicked on this, you'd have to use the back arrow. But I wanted to have it open as well as the page. So I do here, and then you see this little gear icon? Open link in a new tab, please. Okay. So when I update that page and view that page, and when I open this now, there it is. Okay. So now I'm going to have trouble going back again. I get myself into the worst fixes. Okay, so that's that. You can the website session promo. You need to upload it. If you want that, then you have to so if you want this, then you need to upload it. Then you're going to do add media, and then you're going to have to upload that file. And then you have to select that file. And here's my demo folder. And here's my website fundamentals promo sheet. Okay, and then I'm going to insert that into the page. So be sure to update that. And those links don't work until you view the page, or because then you get to see this document that well, it's right there. I can open this as a file. My other things that I've got, how to link to a page that's already in the website. Usually what I do is open that page and copy that URL. And then if I want to go to the national website, I open that page and then I copy that URL and drop it into, I'll have to edit. So I want to back here. So I want to link that to, let's say we want to link that to paste the URL or type the search. How about AAUW.org? Let's see what it does for me there. No, it doesn't do it because I need the HTTP and stuff with it. So I would open that and I would paste it in there. I'm going to stop now because look at that, it's 8 o'clock and I haven't even let Suzanne talk. I just want to mention there are other things that can go in your widget search feature, a grid type calendar that Ashland has, a line type calendar that several branches have, a Facebook feed that Tiger has, donate links, Lake Oswego and Seaside, and some special photo pages, Tiger and Tillamook. So I am going to get out of this. I am out. That was kind of rough. It's kind of like when I was teaching, you know, the first time through a lesson. And
it was good though. You did all the key points. Thank you.
Well, I hope it was helpful. Okay, Suzanne, you were going to show.
I've got a checklist to show, but let me talk for just a minute. So when Ilga asked me to kind of wrap up our session today and talk about website maintenance, my first thought was, well, if any of you have insomnia issues, I'm going to solve your problem this evening. This is not a thrilling subject by any means, but it is important. It's like, remember when you got your first shiny new car? Mine was a red Celica GT with racing stripes. And it had a manual transmission, which I didn't know how to drive, but that's another story. But I remember faithfully taking it to get the oil changed and for all those maintenance appointments. And I think I even washed it every week, but that probably didn't last for too long, as I recall. But your website is similar to that. It needs regular maintenance, just like your car. You can't just set it up and then forget about it. I've been maintaining the Grants Pass website for about 10 years, and I've had a partner, Marguerite Damewood. And as we learned, if you were at last night's session, having a partner is an important piece, especially for the website. If you're traveling, if you're sick, or if you have a tech issue you just can't seem to overcome, you've got someone to turn to talk to and to take over for you if you're gone, to keep things up to date. Plus, you make a really good friend along the way. Not many people feel really comfortable about keeping a website up to date. I'm not a website designer or a graphic artist or a journalist. I don't write all that well, but I can use my mouse and my keyboard, and I'm not afraid to try out some things. And Site Resources has made this website template easy enough that you can experiment and not get yourself into too much trouble. So I think you can sell it to other people in your branch by stating that, you know, here's your chance to learn a new skill. You can call yourself the website administrator. It looks really good in the Christmas letter when you're writing it to say that, you know, I administer the AAUW website, and no one knows what you're talking about, but it sounds good. So you can do it in your pajamas with a cup of coffee. You don't have to get dressed when you're working on it. So there's some positive pieces you can throw out there to see if you can snare people into helping you out. As I said, National's made our job easier by providing us with this theme to work with. We don't have to worry about keeping security up to date. What are they called? I just lost the plugins. The plugins up to date. We don't have to worry about renewing our domain name. We just have to keep our information new and fresh and up to date. So I did put together a checklist actually several years ago to keep me on track with things that needed to be up to date, mostly on the annual basis. But I've updated a little bit for you today and put in some weekly activities as well as monthly and annual activities. And let me see now if I can bring that up. So there's those weekly things, you know, for example, you just had some event on Saturday, so now you want to remove that from your homepage. And thank you, Ilga, there we go. And add something new, as well as calendar events and deleting the past events information. Those are all pretty common sense things. I think the biggest issue, though, is getting that information from your AAW members. That's always a challenge. I do attend board meetings. Usually that means I end up serving in some other position as well, but that's okay. So board meetings help to get the information that you need. I do ask our newsletter editor to send me the draft of the newsletter before it goes out to our members, so I can cull from that and add things to the website. And our interest group chair, Suzanne Harmony, who's with us tonight, faithfully sends me the interest group schedule each month so I can get those dates in there. But I still have to nag people. I have to continually remind people that we have a website and that there's information on there that they're looking for. So I don't know what the magic bullet is for that. If any of you have ideas, you might share that with us in the chat. On the monthly basis, of course, there's our newsletter. I do end up updating our membership directory frequently. And then I try to keep those graphics and photos up to date, but I fail miserably at that. We always want to have pictures of our branch members, but I tell you, in Grants Pass, every other picture, we're drinking wine. And I just don't know that that's a good way to promote AAUW's mission. So we have a little trouble with that. So I do go out and look for graphics and photos that we can use. One of the websites I like is called Unsplash. And they are free images and photos that you can download because, and let me put my retired librarian's hat on, you cannot use pictures that are copyrighted without getting permission. So you can't just go out on the web and say, oh, there's a nice picture of the city of Grants Pass and then pop it on the website. It may very well be copyrighted. So keep that in mind. Semi-annually, of course, you need to keep tabs on your content and accuracy. Review your site to see if it aligns with National's site and Oregon's site. For example, National changed the mission statement a couple of years ago without really saying much to any of us. And with their whole new website, there's a whole new emphasis. It has a different feel to it that, so I'm always trying to snag things from those sites. And I'm not proud. I will steal content and, and verbiage and add to our site. Make sure those hyperlinks are still active. You know, click on every hyperlink in your site and make sure it goes to the page you want it to. That was, again, was an issue when National updated their website. All of a sudden, the hyperlinks didn't work for membership or public policy. And then Kelli mentioned Google Analytics. It's nice to take a look and see if anybody is looking at your website. You know, when you put a lot of time and effort into it, it's nice to know that maybe it's worth it, especially if you have a calendar. I used to spend a couple hours a month updating the calendar, and I would wonder if it was worth it. And then I'd look at Google Analytics and see that, oh, 70 people looked at the calendar this month. Darn, I'm going to have to keep that up to date. I will confess now, though, that National didn't, they took out the plug-in calendar that we were using and didn't replace it with anything. They said we could use the Google Calendar. So now when you click on our calendar link, I just have a little note that says, check our newsletter. And I have a link to that page that shows what events are there. But one of these days I may need to contact them again and see about a separate calendar. Annually, and I often do these things at the end of June, early July, when our new year starts, there's some updates. The first two things on this list, forms and contact links, are things that only National can do. And our branch has chosen to pay National $119 a year to have this service provided to us. I think if we ran into money issues, we might say, no, we don't need that. But right now we still do keep that renewal up to date, although I haven't been able to get them to bill us this year. So I'm not sure what's happening. I've asked several times and have not received an invoice. So we'll see what happens when I ask them to update something again in the near future. We also have a members only section because our members felt that there were some things they wanted to keep private. Our newsletter is one of them because we have a lot of contact information in there. We were concerned about people seeing when the interest groups were meeting so that we didn't have a theft at our home when we were at wine group that night, that kind of thing. And we also use it as somewhat of an archive. Georgia keeps trying to drag us to Google Drive, and we just haven't gotten there yet. So we put things like our bylaws and our policies and our board minutes on the website, and that serves as an archive until we get our act together and get Google Drive up and running. As someone mentioned, they discovered that National only gives us 375 megabytes of information, so delete those extra files. The password, that's also something that National can only do. We used to switch it every July. We faithfully thought, okay, the minute people don't renew, they're out of here. You know, they're off our list and June 30th and July 1st, they're not going to be able to get into our members only section. Well, we've gotten lax as time has gone on, and it's not that big a deal. So we haven't changed our password for several years. Let's see, what else have I got here? And then wrap it up with, thinking about website awareness. How do you talk to your board members about the website? How do you get input from them? We also talk to them about what newsletter articles we might put in throughout the year to remind people about the content on our site, as well as the password, which no one seems to remember. And then we also talk about how we're going to let new members know about our website. And I think the last thing, I'll wrap this up quickly here, is when you are looking at your website, before you hit that update button, view your website as though you're a visitor to it, and take it in that way. How are they looking at it? What information might they be looking for? And are they going to be able to find it easily? And that will give you a successful site. Probably, I think our site, for example, is the one that Kelli mentioned right off the bat, the one-stop shop for basic information. And we try to do that. There's nothing too rousing about it, but hopefully people can find the information they need. Okay, any questions for any of us this evening?
So Suzanne, where is this handout that you just went through on the website? Or Ilga?
Ilga's got it on the website somewhere.
It is somewhere. And I do need to tell you that I had, in fact, Nancy, I requested her to take off the search function on the state website because it was terrible. One of these days during this next year, I will be reinstating it, but right now it's gone. So, but you do have, yeah, it's on the demo page for today's skills camp. But it is
demo. Okay.
It is permanently placed. I'm going to take that demo page off, but it's permanently placed into state resources on the menu. If you go to state resources in the menu, and then there is a link to website information. And in that, so go to that. And then on that website information, that's where you'll find that as a PDF link. So it's kind of like an outline. When you think about setting up your website, you want to set it up in an outline form. Where you start, there's your home page. How do you want to spread this thing out? And how do you want to link this? What I found was, first of all, in the maintenance piece, don't make it so that you have to go to, when you're changing, if you have a link on your home page for your newsletter, and you have a link in your newsletter section for the newsletter, and then you have maybe another spot where you have a newsletter link, then every time you have a new newsletter, you got to go to 1, 2, 3 places to make that change. So don't do it that way. Okay?
I might add one other thing to that too, is look at the wording on your website, so that you don't have to update things all the time. For example, instead of saying AAUW was established or had its beginnings 130 years ago, which then every year you have to change. Okay, now it's 131 years and 132 years. Say something like AAUW was established in 1891, and then you're done. You don't have to change it again.
You better say 1881.
1891, 81.
So there are several questions about Google Analytics. One is how do you access Google Analytics? And the other is, do you have to pay for it?
Google Analytics is free. And to be honest, I can't remember if we needed site resources help to set it up. I've set it up for other websites on my own.
I think you do need some, well, I'm not sure. It is on your dashboard. It's located on your dashboard. They encourage you to go there. And I went there and it said, I'm sorry, you don't have access to that. So I don't have access to it. So I believe Suzanne's right that we probably need to have National set that up.
Just ask site resources to do it. And the other thing they'll do for you is make it so that every time you click on a page, it doesn't count that as a statistic. You know, sometimes I'm looking at the calendar, you know, 5 times that week to see, did I put this event in, or I better update this or whatever. And that changes your statistics. So they have a way of keeping your clicks out of the statistics list. I'm sure there's much better verbiage for it than I just said, but.
Any other questions for this team? What a great job you all did.
I think just thank you. From my experience in learning web construction and so forth, you now know what is possible. You don't know how to do it yet until you get in there and try it. And so that's what you'll need to do. But you do know that's possible. So I knew it was possible, for example, make that open in a new tab. How do you do that? I knew it's possible to change the size of my words. I knew it was possible. How do you do that? So that's the way you'll want to kind of explore.
And I think, Ilga, you're a great example of having learned by experience with this particular website format. So good job. Thank you very much. I want to remind everyone that we are back. We're taking a few days off now because people are vacationing and so forth. But we're back on Monday with Trish Garner talking about critical race theory. And it's becoming so much more controversial with our school districts around the state and lots of other places. So Trish has guided us through a lot of good racial discussions, and this will be another terrific one. So remember to come back on Monday night at 7 o'clock. Thank you.